Hey, welcome to another edition of Backyard Beatitudes. I'm PT, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride again today. Today we're talking about replacements. Yeah, that's it, replacements. And I want to start off with some definitions. The first definition I want to throw at you is therapy. Therapy. You know what that word is, therapy. Well, therapy defined is this: treatment intended to relieve or heal a condition, an issue. That's what therapy is. But then if you add replacement to it, you get replacement therapy. And replacement therapy is therapy involving the supplying of something, such as nutrients or blood, which is lacking from or lost to the system. In other words, a blood transfusion or a bone marrow transplant, those would be considered replacement therapy. Spiritual replacement therapy was introduced by the Bible ages ago. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse number 23 says this: "For you have been born not of perishable seed, but of imperishable, through the living and enduring Word of God." There you go. And so I want to talk about some replacement therapy for you today. Some news that you can use and you can put it to practice right now in your life. The first one I'd like to go to is this: replace panic with prayer. That's right. Replace panic with prayer. A panic attack is a sudden episode of intense fear that triggers severe physical reactions when there's no real danger or apparent cause. Panic attack. Panic attacks can be very frightening. Panic attacks can be debilitating. When panic attacks occur, you might think you're losing control. You might think you're having a heart attack. You might think you are even dying. In the Bible, David found a cure for his own personal panic attacks. And this is what he said. In Psalm 34:4, David said, "I prayed to the Lord, and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears." Did you catch that? David said, "He freed me from all my fears." David then concluded that as a result of his praying, watch this, in Psalm 34, down at verse 17 now, when his people pray for help, David said, he listens and rescues them from their troubles. There you go. He's the rescuer. He rescues you from fear. He rescues you from troubles. When you start to feel fear and panic setting in, you need to do this. Immediately go to the Lord in prayer. Immediately take it to Him. Why? He is there to hear. He is there to help. He is there to relieve your pain and detour or derail your panic attack. The second key today is this: replace worry with worship. The old song said, "Don't worry, be happy." You may have heard that song, or you may have heard that quote. It's easier said than done, though, isn't it? Because a lot of times we just are prone to worry. In the New Testament, Paul, who wrote much of the New Testament, had a prescription for worry. Not only did Paul encourage us to pray, but he encouraged us to pray with a thankful attitude. Watch this, Philippians chapter 4 and verse number 6. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has done. So instead of giving in to worry, start thanking God for anything and everything that He has done in your life already. Hey, Jesus Himself said, don't worry. Well, worship is a stress buster and a worry defeater. That's right. Worship. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Enter into the presence of the Lord where there's fullness of joy. Bless his name. The Lord is good. His mercies are everlasting. And so when you start focusing on that, when you start focusing on the Lord and begin to worship him, hey, your worries go out the door. Your worries go out the window. Your worries have to disappear because now you're in the presence of the Lord. Thirdly, I want to encourage you today to replace anxiety with adoration. All of these replacements go together. It's therapy that you can enact spiritually right now in your life, in your situation, in your circumstance, wherever you are. Adoration is respect and reverence, being lovingly devoted to the Lord. Devoted is synonymous with loyalty. Are you devoted to God? Are you focused on following him? Are you putting your trust totally in him? Or are you focused on the latest issue? Are you focused on the trouble or the challenge or the circumstance or situation that threatens at noonday? Hey, the 91st Psalm says we're surrounded by trouble and issues, but the Lord has us under his covering, and we need to remember that. So we need to focus on him. So I love what Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse number 7. He said, turn all your anxiety over. Hey, that sounds like replacement therapy. Turn all your anxiety over to God because he cares for you. Hey, God cares for you. He cares about you. Focus on God. Focus on God's goodness. Focus on God's grace. Focus on God's power. You see, in 1 Peter 5:7, Peter's focus is rightly on the Lord, not on the anxiety that would love nothing more than to invade and pervade our thought life, bringing us down and putting us in a negative place. Peter said, no, not going to do that. I'm going to replace that anxiety with focusing on the Lord and depending on the Lord. That's what I'm going to do instead, replacing anxiety with adoration. His contemporary, the Apostle Paul, said this, if there be any virtue or if there be any praise, think on these things. I love how the New Living Translation puts that. Philippians chapter 4 and verse number 8, because this is what it says. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. There you go. Fix your thoughts. That's what I'm talking about today. Fixing your thoughts. Backyard Beatitudes. It's all about fixing your thoughts and fixing your attitude and fixing your mind and having the mind of Christ and not allowing things around you to derail you, to detour you, to discourage you, but that you may stay in the presence of the Lord where there's joy, where there's peace, where there's strength for you at all times. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him. Adoration. He'll direct your paths. I believe that. Hey man, that's what I have for you today. So remember, replacement therapy in the spiritual vein. Replace panic with prayer. Replace worry with worship. Replace anxiety with adoration. And see the difference that it makes in your attitude and your everyday life. Hey, it's PT. Thanks for joining me. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you again real soon.